Hey friends, it's Keith, and today I want to talk about becoming a software engineer, how I became one, and how you can too. It's been 2 years since I graduated since UC Berkeley, and I've been reflecting about my career since then and the journey it's been to get to where I am today. I'm currently employed in big tech at one of the MAANG companies, but I want to take a step back and talk about how I got here, and while talking about that, give you tips on how you can get to this position as well. In the beginning, and by that I mean the 2010s. Technology in the early 2010s was so exciting. Minecraft, new iPhones that look radically different every year, the PS4, the new generation of gaming. Everything felt so exciting and like it was evolving so quickly at the time. Instagram was blowing up and YouTube was still really new, and the algorithms hadn't quite broken our brains yet. As a kid, I wanted a part of the action. When I was just a preteen, I started posting videos here on YouTube. So embarrassing, by the way, when you go back and look at them. Over a decade now, I've been posting on this platform. I was really into video games at the time, and so I wanted to start making my own video games. I made my very first game in Batch. It was a text-based quiz game for Minecraft. I made other text-based and 2D and eventually 3D games as I was becoming a teenager. My early interest with software engineering was in becoming a video game developer, which I think is true for a lot of kids. So if you're brand new to this field, my biggest tip that I think really put me on a good path from the very start was to just follow your interests and to follow your passion. Too often we think about employability or like these trends and these skills that you have to know. But for me, as a kid, I was just interested in making my own video game. And over time, those interests changed, and now I'm a backend software developer. But I think when you're starting out, following your passion and getting excited about projects and learning skills through that route is the most important thing over optimizing for employability. To actionably start your journey, I would say use free or very low cost resources. YouTube tutorial series, Udemy courses, various online coding resources. They have them, they're free or low cost. That's where I would start. Now, as I was entering high school, I took advantage of all the opportunities I had at the time and would call out and recommend you do the same. So for me at my high school, I was very lucky that they offered early programming courses in various languages like Java and Python and HTML. And eventually, as I got older, I was able to take some AP computer science courses. And those were really good at helping me to understand the mindset of being an engineer and some of the very fundamental concepts for how to think about different problems. For example, as a kid, I was so scared about learning a new language. If there was something I wanted to do, but the tools to do so weren't easily available in the language I knew, then I kind of locked myself up from doing it. And that was because I thought that every language you learned was basically as hard as the first one, because there are a lot of differences, semantic differences. What I didn't realize and only realized through taking these courses that were free and offered to me was that really all you need is fundamental concepts and the mindset to solve a problem logically in a way that a computer does to translate your skills across almost every language. So those like basic concepts were taught to me through my high school courses. So when I was growing up, things like Code Ninjas didn't exist. Code Ninjas is sort of like a Mathnasium vibe for kids, but instead about coding and programming and video game development and things like that. But because my high school did offer those courses, I was able to take those instead, even though I didn't have access to something like Code Ninjas. And through that, I was able to gain experience and continue iterating on the projects I was working on. And so I'm assuming many of you are not in high school. And what that means for you is take free or low-cost courses near you. There are some libraries that offer courses. There's online boot camps. There's boot camps that funnel you into employment opportunities. Take advantage where you can of your local community and the resources around you to help you build your skills as you are working on your projects and following the online documentation already. After high school, I went to college intending to be a computer science major. What that meant for me was that I had to take multiple Weeder courses to prove that I could do this.
This is the most nervous I have ever been in my entire life.
That is where having that prior high school classes or that prior project experience really helped me get kind of a foot ahead of people who didn't start on these things earlier, and college was their first exposure to computer science concepts. I knew a lot of the basics already going into those first classes, and that helped me to clear the bar for declaring computer science as my major. Another really big point here is that in college, I really didn't like a lot of the computer science courses. I found that learning computer science concepts in a school setting was a lot less fun for me than working on projects I cared about or were interested in. Even if the class aligned with my general interests, the classes at times could still be like really brutal. And in those moments, reminding myself that, no, I love computer science and I love working on this stuff was a lot easier because I had those projects that I'd already worked on. And so I could understand that even though this specific project or class or task is really hard, I know that I love doing this. And this is something that I want to make a career out of because I had that experience as a kid working on my first video game and thinking how magical it was. All right, let's fast forward 2 more years. Internship time. The summer before my senior year of college, I applied and was accepted into a software development engineer internship with the same big tech company that I work at now. For privacy reasons, I will not tell you what company that is. So sorry, but I can tell you that it's in big tech. It's a name you're familiar with, and I work on an app that the company owns on the backend stack. That's what I can say. But about the internship specifically, I was tasked a project and had 3 months to complete it. That internship was by far the most valuable part of my college experience. Those 3 months, I learned so much and such a fast pace. I think it really changed who I was as an engineer and just really elevated my understanding and knowledge of engineering concepts. I think before the internship, I was definitely a programmer, but after, I was an engineer. And so the internship experience was not only valuable in what it taught me, but it was also really valuable in getting a foot in the door at this company. For myself and for almost every other engineer that I know who works in big tech, they almost all started as interns at the company and then moved into the new grad role. And I think that goes to show just how important internships are because number one, it provides you a route to prove to the company that you're competent and can do this role. If you can prove that to them in an extended setting, then you're more likely to get a return offer. But number two, it also shows other companies when you're applying that you are competent and was able to complete the internship and have prior work experience, things like that. So I would advise to apply for internships as early and often as possible. I only had one in the summer before my senior year. I would expect that you apply every year. Apply for a freshman year program. Apply for any program. Especially in this job market, it is nearly impossible at my company for a new grad to get a role if they were not an intern. And so I cannot stress enough just how important it is that you take advantage of the opportunity and try and make those opportunities for yourself because it was extraordinarily valuable to me. Okay, so for me, after this internship, 3 months go by, I get a return offer, which is so exciting. I start my senior year feeling on top of the world, like I don't need to apply anywhere, you guys, because I have a return offer. I'm gonna be an engineer. It's gonna be so cool. And then December rolls around and quote, because of the macroeconomic environment, the company made the difficult decision to delay your start date by 6 months. Oh, yeah. They did this in December of my senior year, and that was so totally fun and did not cause a mental breakdown or anything. For me, after I graduated, I had student loans I had to start paying for, and I was worried, of course, that after the 6 months, the company would just pull my offer. That's kind of what I was expecting. And so I didn't feel like I could rely on this position or this offer given the delay. So in December, January time, I got back on the job market and started applying to other roles. I applied to 109 positions, and it was brutal. If you're not familiar, most of the really high-paying, well-positioned jobs, those positions open in August or September for new grads with a start date the following summer. And so by getting this notification in December, a lot of the high-paying, well-positioned jobs were taken. So I was applying everywhere I could. It sucked. That was 2 years ago now. And honestly, I think it's worse today. I feel for anyone who's in that position right now. I feel it. I've been there. It sucks. My only advice I would say is keep your head up. Know that you're applying to these hundreds of positions, and if you're not hearing anything short of getting someone else to review your resume, it's probably not your fault. For me, it felt like banging my head against a wall for like 4 months straight. But then finally, after those 4 months, something about the job market started to change, and I started getting more interviews and more second and third round interviews, and eventually I got 3 offers, and I picked one of them. So if nothing is happening, there's no movement, keep applying, because I think at some point you'll notice these cycles start to come in and things will change. So my first job that I worked at a college was for a defense contractor, which I didn't love. I worked at this job for the 6 months between when I graduated and when I did ultimately start my role in big tech. Defense contracting was not where I saw myself. And from a fulfillment side, it sucked. And the pay was just okay. But it was truly the most chill job I have ever had in my whole life. It was fully remote, easy work. I could start a little later, end a little earlier, take a couple hours of lunch during the day sometimes. We had every other Friday off. The work-life balance was going crazy. But as a new grad, that pace was not what I wanted. I felt like having something so chill directly out of college was not setting me up for a long-term career success. I felt like right after college, I wanted to be in a fast-paced environment like the internship, where I was learning so much every day from these really smart people around me. That wasn't what I was getting at this role. So when my big tech start date did come up, I accepted and moved across the country to take that position. And now I've been here for a year and a half. I'm on the same team that I was on when I interned. A lot has changed and a lot has stayed the same. I've learned so much. Big tech does pay big bucks, but also requires a big personal investment. The work-life balance here also goes crazy, but for the opposite reason. The work environment is very fast-paced, oftentimes very challenging, but I'm learning a lot. And for the start of the career, this is what I was looking for, and it has engaging problems that I feel lucky to solve. Right now, a lot of big tech companies are shedding the Silicon Valley stereotypes of like this cool workplace, like free lunch and a lot of amenities, and they're going more towards that do more with less type thing, where basically you're expected to do more work with less people. So while I think there are some companies with reputations of being harder in the work-life balance side, I think all big tech is kind of moving towards that, unfortunately. If you're considering like what type of company you want to join, look, I gave you my reasons for joining big tech. I think obviously the biggest pro is that you're making more money and you're learning a lot really fast and working with really, really smart people, but it is fast paced and it is challenging and it can be cutthroat sometimes, but also know like it doesn't have to be forever. If that's something you feel like you want to do for 2 years and then get out, then I think that would be a great opportunity for anyone. But so far, on the whole, pretty positive about it, and I am looking forward to more growth at this company and seeing where things go. Okay, that's it for me. That's my journey. That's how I got here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'm happy to answer anything that I know. And if you're looking to become a software development engineer, you have my very best wishes. It's been a long journey for me, as I'm sure it will be or has been for you, but it's an exciting field. It's just as exciting as ever. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to, I think, but we'll see. That's it for me. Thanks.